Okay, so this is pretty much like a meal prep. We're gonna chop everything ahead of time, split it up into the different meals, and put each meal into its own Tupperware container. So as I was shopping for all the produce, I was following EWG's Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 guide. These 12 veggies and fruits were rated as having the highest level of pesticides. So EWG recommends that you try to buy these ones organic if you can, and then everything else you can buy non-organic because it is a lot cheaper. Today was not as easy as I thought it would be because for the first two drinks they tasted good, but I'm used to having like veggie juice or fruit juice in addition to having actual real food to chew on. So after the first juice in the morning, my body was expecting to have an actual meal. Like I kept getting ideas of what I wanted to make, like, oh, I'm gonna have, you know, a stir fry for lunch, but then I remembered we're on this juice cleanse, so can't have any food. That being said, I was never actually super hungry. I was like peckish, like I wanted food because food makes me happy, but if you do this and you actually get physically hungry, super hungry, and you still have a couple hours before your next meal, your next juice, definitely snack on something. Either make another juice drink, one that's heavier on veggies, or if you absolutely have to, you can snack on some raw veggies or fruits. But definitely don't go for anything besides veggies and fruits, because the whole point of this cleanse or detox is that you're giving your digestive system a break from having to actually digest anything. Like obviously you're doing a minor amount of digestion to process the sugars and the carbs and the micronutrients and all of this stuff, but we're looking for like almost zero fiber for just this 2-day period to give your gut a rest from all of that. Again, you will survive just fine without those things. Already started to separate. This is honestly my favorite one so far. The first two of the day, first one was what? Mostly carrot, bell pepper, ginger. It was a little bit strong on the ginger, which I like. It tasted good, but a little bit strong, like spicy from the ginger. Yeah, this one's definitely what I intended it to be. It feels like a drink you would order in a restaurant or at like a drink shop. It tastes kind of like a pear limeade, and then you don't really taste the cucumber at all, but it gives it a nice, I don't know, mellow taste to it. And I do feel very energized. I feel a little bit annoyed because I don't have my food, and food is like my security blanket. I love having food. I look forward to food. And I don't know if that's the healthiest mentality, but I think that's the only thing that's been bothering me today with the juice fast, is just that I miss having normal food, but it's just 2 days. And this actually tastes, this is making up for the first two juices. If you're like me and you have a family history of carb resistance, metabolic issues, and diabetes, it's not a good idea to push that boundary. It's not a good idea to be taking in a lot of sugars and carbs during a 2-day period and not have any protein or fat or fiber to slow down the blood sugar spike pretty much. So that's why I think it's so important to keep the sugar low. That being said, if you really take this as a fast and mentally you think of it as, you know, a medicinal treatment, something that you're doing for your health, you can handle all these things. They don't taste that bad. If you've been eating super healthy the week leading up to this, if you've been having really high amount of veggies, not a huge amount of, you know, processed foods, it will be pretty easy to go on this juice fast. Because it's a Saturday, I got to sleep in this morning. I think that was a good idea because I had an early dinner yesterday and then woke up late today. So that means I'm technically doing intermittent fasting, which keeps your insulin sensitivity really good. And that's really important for doing a whole 2 days of having just pretty much sugar and carbs. And I think it's what? It's 7 right now. It's a little late for me to do intermittent fasting. But if I push off my first juice tomorrow, if I wait until 11 to have my next juice tomorrow morning, then it would technically be a small intermittent fast. And so the great thing about this is that I hate eating pears whole. I really don't like the kind of gritty texture they have. But But I love pear juice. It tastes great in juice form. I actually really like this color too. Makes me think of honeydew, which would be another really good idea for making juice. I feel like if you want really good, sweeter, like dessert juices or juice recipes, look up homemade fruit cocktails or something. So tactics for staying distracted when other people are eating yummy food next to you. Make sure that your day job doesn't require you to be looking at recipes all day, like mine does. So I already failed at that. But no, realistically, when other people are having their meals, don't eat with them. If you can like tell people ahead of time, I'm doing this juice cleanse, this juice fast for the weekend, don't schedule meals with people if you can. Something else I should mention is that if you have intolerances to any kind of fruit or veggie, fruits are more common, definitely don't have them as part of this juice cleanse. So if you're looking for a juicer to buy and they're all just way too expensive, and the juicing blenders are also super expensive, you can just use an average household blender, not a high-powered one, which is what I have. I just have a standard, not very strong powered blender. You can use a strainer like I was doing here, or you can just pour all of the pulp straight into a nut milk bag. I think this works the best, and if you're really focused on getting every last drop of nutrients out of the leftover pulp from juicing, you can put the leftover pulp from using an actual juice machine into a nut milk bag and squeeze out maybe a good half cup of extra juice. I'm glad I saved this one for last. It's maybe a little strong on the celery. I think I'll change that in the recipe for you guys. A little less celery, but otherwise it's the cucumber, pineapple, mint. It's actually really nice. The pineapple's not too strong and too sweet. I was worried that it would be, but I think all that cucumber really mellows it out. And the mint is not very strong, which I'm glad. It means I'm not a fan of mint. If you like mint, obviously you can add more, but if you don't want to go so, you know, medicinal with your drinks, you can cut out the more extreme things, like adding the raw onion and raw garlic are really good for you. Those things are extremely strong medicinal foods when you eat them raw, but they do make the juice taste not so great. So you could just leave those out and just have basically a tomato juice. You can play around with it. So I'll leave a couple juicing sites down in the description box below if you guys want to check out hundreds of other juicing recipes. You don't have to follow mine. Yesterday I think I mentioned that I had a lot more energy and I felt less bogged up, less bloated, and today it's been the same. I felt a lot like my system's moving faster, I guess. Maybe my metabolism's going a little faster. Maybe it's jitteriness from having just straight sugar and carbs from the veggies and fruit, but it doesn't feel like a sugar high and it doesn't feel like a bad kind of jittery. So I have been definitely hungrier these 2 days, which is a good thing because the last week, for some reason, I had very little appetite. So one of the good things about doing 2 days of just juice is it does stimulate your appetite a lot. Not only because you're taking in less calories than normal, but also just because I think having juice speeds up your metabolism a bit. It's easier for your digestion to work with and you're absorbing a lot more nutrients, especially micronutrients, a lot faster. Something I read earlier today is that a lot of veggies actually have a lot of electrolytes naturally in them. That means that drinking 3 to 4 glasses of juice a day instead of anything else, you're constantly being fully hydrated. That is it. The last juice of the last day of the juice cleanse. To be honest, I'm so looking forward to eating real food tomorrow, but I think this was good for my stomach. I definitely have my appetite back, and if any of you guys are curious on what I eat when I'm not doing a juice fast, I'm currently following the GAPS protocol diet for healing a leaky gut, for healing a damaged digestive system. That means no grains and no starches, and this whole next week I'm meal prepping my real food. If you guys want to see a GAPS diet meal prep, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll be notified when I come out with my meal prep video in another week.